Mohamed Salah walked off the turf in devastation. The match that eliminated Egypt was refereed by a panel Cairo accused of deliberate manipulation. This morning, Cairo's state intelligence leaked the most explosive document of this entire tournament: the World Cup final officiating roster. The same referees, the same panel, assigned to the match that hands Lionel Messi the trophy. President El-Sisi has issued a 12-hour ultimatum: strip those officials of their final credentials immediately, or Egypt executes a total economic blackout against every Western sports conglomerate in the region. The final is hours away, and Zurich has never faced anything like this. The leak did not come through sporting channels. It came from Cairo, from Egyptian state intelligence, operating under President El-Sisi's direct authorization, monitoring the tournament's officiating appointment processes since the round of 16 controversy that eliminated Egypt and triggered the trade ultimatum that shook Zurich earlier in this competition. What the State Intelligence Unit obtained is the complete officiating appointment roster for the World Cup final. When Egyptian analysts cross-referenced those names against the formal complaint documentation that the Egyptian Football Association had submitted following their round of 16 elimination, the time-stamped forensic dossier detailing 2 unchecked Egyptian penalty claims and the controversial 88th minute penalty award, the overlap was not partial. The lead referee and 2 assistant officials named in the final appointment roster appear directly in the EFA's complaint documentation. They are not peripheral figures. They are the central decision-makers in every incident the complaint identifies. By 5 a.m., the dossier was on President El-Sisi's desk. By 7:30 a.m., it had been transmitted to FIFA headquarters in Zurich through Egypt's official diplomatic mission, accompanied by the ultimatum that has brought this tournament to the edge of its most catastrophic institutional moment. Egypt sits at the intersection of 3 commercially significant markets for this tournament: North Africa, the Middle East, and the sub-Saharan African diaspora. The corporate sponsorship activations, broadcast rights distributions, and merchandise networks that serve those markets pass through commercial infrastructure that Egyptian state trade authorities have the legal and administrative capacity to freeze. The ultimatum El-Sisi issued makes direct use of that capacity. If the controversial officials are not stripped of their final credentials within 12 hours, Egyptian state trade authorities will execute an immediate, total economic blackout targeting every Western sports conglomerate operating commercial partnerships within Egyptian jurisdiction. The specific entities named include the primary broadcast rights holders for the MENA region, the global apparel brands whose Egyptian distribution networks represent significant revenue streams, and the digital streaming platforms whose Egyptian subscriber bases constitute the largest single-nation audience block on the African continent. The commercial exposure is not symbolic, it is operational, and FIFA has 12 hours to determine whether protecting its officiating appointment roster is worth the financial consequences of testing it. The appointment of the round of 16 officiating crew to the World Cup final is not, in isolation, a violation of any FIFA regulation. Referee appointment processes evaluate crews based on their tournament match management records. Under a genuinely neutral application of that system, a crew whose round of 16 performance was flagged in a formal complaint by a participating federation, a complaint that remains unresolved at the time of the final appointment, would not typically be elevated to the highest profile fixture of the competition. The elevation is the anomaly. And it is the anomaly that Cairo's intelligence documentation has made impossible to dismiss. What the pattern of appointments across this tournament reveals, examined against the commercial bracket architecture that FIFA's internal valuation models generate, is a consistent directional relationship between the commercial importance of a fixture's outcome and the specific officiating characteristics of the crews assigned to manage it. Matches where the commercial priority outcome requires protection receive crews whose documented decision-making patterns show a measurable tendency toward protective foul allocations for high market participants and maximum disciplinary application to their opponents. The World Cup final, the fixture that determines whether Lionel Messi lifts the trophy that his continued presence has been protecting the commercial value of across this entire tournament, has been assigned a crew whose round of 16 performance is the subject of a formal unresolved Egyptian complaint alleging exactly that pattern. The appointment is either the product of a genuinely blind performance assessment system, or it is the most visible evidence yet that the system is not blind at all. Egypt's blackout framework represents aggregate revenue streams that are individually significant and collectively material to the financial performance of the tournament's primary commercial partners. Broadcast rights distributions across the MENA region, apparel merchandise networks operating through Egyptian distribution infrastructure, and digital streaming subscriber revenues from North Africa's largest market are all suspended the moment El-Sisi's blackout order is activated. At the global broadcast level, the $2 billion in World Cup final rights fees already under pressure from multiple sovereign interventions in this tournament now faces additional exposure. The Egyptian trade blackout removes a significant portion of the audience that makes the final's advertising inventory valuable to the global sponsors who purchased it. The rights fee exposure and the advertising inventory exposure are now compounding simultaneously, and FIFA is the only entity that can resolve both by making one decision: replace the officials. The corporate partners' finance teams are calculating the exposure right now and communicating to FIFA's Commercial Partnerships Office in terms that leave no ambiguity about the urgency of a resolution. Every commercial partner in the MENA ecosystem is on the same call. Every call carries the same message, and FIFA is giving all of them the same answer it has given at every crisis point in this tournament. The matter is under review. That answer has a 12-hour expiry. After that, it costs $2 billion. Egypt's trade blackout threat has activated the most geographically coordinated audience response this tournament has seen, because Egypt's commercial and cultural position in the African and Arab football community gives its government's ultimatum an amplifying effect that extends far beyond Egyptian borders. Football federations across North Africa, the Middle East, and Sub-Saharan Africa have been watching this tournament's officiating controversies with an intensity shaped by their own historical experience of the asymmetries the EFA's complaint documents. Broadcast viewership boycott movements across Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, and the wider Arab and African diaspora are coordinating at a scale that the final's broadcast partners have never planned for in their regional audience models. Television production teams preparing for the final are revising audience projections as uncertainty grows. Advertising aimed at African and Middle Eastern markets is facing commercial review, while FIFA is dealing with mounting pressure over referee appointments, broadcasting concerns, and political scrutiny just hours before kickoff. FIFA must now decide whether to keep the current officiating team or appoint new referees before the final. Supporters of a change argue that referee appointments have been adjusted in previous tournaments because of injuries, administrative issues, or other exceptional circumstances. They believe FIFA has the authority to make such a decision if it believes confidence in the match would be strengthened. Critics argue the situation has moved beyond a normal sporting dispute. They point to complaints about earlier officiating decisions and growing political and commercial pressure surrounding the tournament. Whether those concerns are ultimately justified or not, they believe public confidence in the officials has become almost as important as the match itself. Others warn that changing referees because of outside pressure could create a dangerous precedent. If political or commercial influence affects referee appointments, they argue, the independence of football's officiating system could be weakened for future tournaments. With kickoff approaching, the focus remains on FIFA's next decision. The players deserve a final remembered for football, rather than controversy. Whether FIFA changes the officiating team or keeps its original appointment, the decision is likely to become one of the tournament's defining moments, and remain a subject of debate long after the final whistle. The controversy surrounding the final continues to dominate headlines, with every passing hour increasing the pressure on football's governing body. Whatever happens next, millions of supporters will be watching closely to see how FIFA responds and what message its decision sends about the balance between competitive integrity and institutional independence. What do you think? Should FIFA replace the controversial referees to restore confidence in the World Cup final, or would doing so amount to unacceptable political interference? Share your verdict in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share this video with fellow football fans, and subscribe for real-time updates as the situation develops. Turn on notifications so you never miss the latest analysis, and we'll see you in the next file breakdown.